You're tuning in to Past Our Prime, a show powered by Squad Locker.
Here are your hosts, retired Astros minor league star Tip Fairchild and former Patriots All-Pro center Dan Copen.
Episode 49, as we were discussing briefly, we are dangerously close to episode 52, which would be in everybody's calendars or everybody's opinion, a full year.
Full year. One rotation around the sun.
Which I don't get how it's because we took a couple weeks off, 2 or 3, but then we're still ending up around
strange
the same time when we started.
No.
Well, there was a one that we rolled when we were on the 3Bs, the BBB.
Yep,
beer,
we rolled that.
Booze.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we got to do some math on it, but yeah, 52. We're coming up on it. One rotation around the sun. Appreciate all the followers. By the way, follow at Past Our Prime Show on Instagram.
You're all over it now.
Like, subscribe, share. My new favorite thing is actually anytime I'm writing anything to anybody, I put follow at Past Our Prime Show. It could be a check. Nice. It could be anything. And people follow all the time.
All right. So the followers are getting up there. So obviously,
I know we got to get in the comma club here. I think we just hired a social media person in the office. So I'm meeting with them tomorrow.
And they have to follow before they get the meeting. Correct.
I said that I refuse to have this meeting until you follow.
Makes sense. Well, we got a big show today because Kevin Lacz, who was on with us briefly at the Matt Light charity shootout, and
we teased it.
I mean, he's a guy that we spent some time with, got to know. Great guy, great American, retired Navy SEAL. He's a frogman. So
I like that. Great American.
He's a great American.
Yeah. What's that quote?
Oh,
one hell of a model American.
Yeah.
It's in a funny movie. I can't remember what it is.
Why I had that. Yeah, why? What? That
I can't remember. It's a funny movie, but
was it Jim Carrey?
No, I think it's yes, it is. He's like out of breath.
Yeah,
he's like rattling off something.
Dumb and Dumber?
He's out of breath.
No, not Dumb and Dumber.
Pet Detective. Yeah. One hell of a American. Yeah,
he goes on the rant.
Right. Yeah. So that is Kevin Lacz. I mean, he has a resume. We're gonna get into it with him. We met him at the Matt Light thing, like you said, and we barely got into it, and we have learned that our most popular episodes, and it makes sense because I go down these rabbit holes on like the Goggins stuff and everything. I just watch like all of his videos all the time. Are Navy SEAL military interviews that we do. I think it's just because that athletes in general are like so like infatuated with that.
Well, I mean, it's relative, and you can compare the teams, the lifestyle, the discipline that you get from it. And I mean, I'm not going to say it again, but I'm going to say it this last time. It's not life or death like those guys, but a lot of those characteristics that you find in the military, men and women, you will find in sports at any level, and you can always draw from that in your own lives going forward. Goggins, you brought up. I'm feeling my mind right now is calloused.
I know that yours is because you've been riding like an animal, and I can't catch you.
I am 15 days straight riding, and if you want to update the spreadsheet,
I got to update it.
Oh, you did? Did you?
No, I have to.
Oh, you can update it.
You're up. You're 100 miles up on me.
But I woke up this morning. I took my parents to the airport early in the morning, and I felt like shit. Absolutely.
You still got on the bike.
Felt like shit, and it was just one of those things. Like Goggins said, he's like, you got to get to a point, and I'm not to that point yet. There's no way I'm to this point yet. But you got to get to a point where, all right, if you don't do it, it's going to bother you to the point where like you'll get out of bed and get it done. So I'm almost to the point where I'm 15 days straight. I was like, I just got to get on the bike. I'll feel better afterwards. I know I will. And if I don't do it, I'm going to be pissed at myself.
That's right.
So
you're building a calloused mind.
My mind is getting calloused.
I tagged you in a Goggins video. I hope that you saw it. I don't think you've seen it yet.
I don't think I saw it
on
yet.
Facebook, I tagged you, which is random for us. We're usually more Instagram guys, where he's lifting out like on the road, running, and he's talking about how people make excuses and they're like, I don't know when to start, and like I just have all these things. And he goes, you have to watch the video. It's so funny. And he's like, what I want you to do, I want you to reach down. I want you to grab your balls. He goes, check to see if they're there. Find some shoes. Do you have some shoes? Go for a run. Go for a walk. He goes, do you have a floor? Go down and do some push-ups on the floor.
Yeah, you don't need
there
much,
you go.
I guess, right?
Oh, it's a funny video. I was laughing.
Grab your
he goes
to see if they're there.
I laughed. So I'm glad that you need to look at that. That was fun. But you're kicking butt. We have a lot of people from Squad Locker that are in this challenge. Lots of people are doing it, which is fun. Also, it is like a sell-a-thon over here right now. We're doing.
I thought you were going to say it's like a sauna in here.
No,
it's quite warm.
It's about to be, but it's a sell-a-thon at Squad Locker. Give joy. What is it, Max?
Give joy 20? No, I think it's give joy now.
Just give joy.
I think so.
That's right. It's 15% off everything, I think. So we're pulling Black Friday. I had the marketing team just doing miracles around here. I just went in. They were just having a team meeting. I barged into it, blew the door open.
Did everybody here follow the program first? Is that the first question that you...
No, I should ask that. I think they all do. Blew the door open and just was like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I absolutely love it. Because they're kicking butt, so it's fun. We hung out yesterday. We watched some football. We made some of our favorite new drink. The dirty Tito's dirty
on the
rocks with olives.
Preferably blue cheese.
Tell you what, I bet it's the first drink I've ever made, other than just dumping something.
You brought over everything,
with ice.
Which was very
I brought
nice.
Over all the ingredients.
It was very nice. Besides the ice, I supplied the ice.
You supplied the ice and the cups,
and you left the Tito's bottle there. So that was nice.
I'm not gonna bring it, and then bring it home.
You could have. I think I got a couple handles up top. So.
No, never. So bring that over. We start doing the shaker. Maybe we'll post a video. Of this.
You didn't shake it first.
I did this, the dump, back and forth thing.
You did stirred, or not even stirred.
Just like bruised, I don't know the terms, but the new version, I mean, then we shook it, and we think we found a solution.
It was so much better than the first one.
It was good.
It was frothy.
Frothy.
I mean, and you could... It had a different texture to it.
Egg white in it? One of those kind of fancy drinks?
No, nothing crazy, Max. Just alcohol.
I mean, there's blue cheese. You said nothing crazy.
Yeah, blue cheese olive. Yeah, blue cheese olive.
Perfect.
It was
refreshing.
Delicious.
It went down well after like 10 beers. It was great.
Yep. So we had fun doing that. We watched football. Patriots are back. They look good.
They got themselves a football team up in New England now.
There we go. That's what we were looking for. Take that clip, Max. We'll send that right to the Pats. Like Dan Copen says that the Patriots have a football team now.
They got a football team, and just what like I even told this to you. It's refreshing. Like Henry had a rough start not a rough start. He wasn't the 50 million would they give him? He wasn't making enough catches. He wasn't giving plays, and obviously that has to do with the offensive line, the quarterback. They got to give him the football. They weren't getting him the football. Smith has been hurt, so we'd like to see him come back and have an impact when he can. Yeah. But like the guys that they brought in, it's nice to see them contributing. Like Judon. Judon's been an absolute
animal.
Yeah,
it's great to watch.
Those guys that get that
the guy with the red sleeves,
get that big payday, but they don't just just pack it up and just sail off into the sunset.
Plenty of people that do that. So you're right. You're right.
If you ever told that one guy's story,
we'll bring him on. We'll bring him.
But those guys are making plays. Henry's scoring touchdowns every game now. Judon's after the quarterback, and the quarterback himself is lights out. I
so good.
Really, really like what Jones is doing. Mm-hmm. Not every game is going to be that 340, 350. It doesn't have to.
19 for 23 for what was it?
Complete the ball,
or something? Get
first down, score the points. Yeah. Punch it in the red area. But the most important thing, I hate when people say quarterback is like a game manager, and that's a derogatory term. It's bullshit.
That's what you want him to do.
That's what your job is. I tell
listen to the name of the.
I tell my
listen
kid
to the name of the position, quarterback, right?
I tell my kid he plays hockey. It doesn't matter. He's on offense. Your two jobs are take care of the puck and score points.
Yeah.
As a quarterback, take care of the football and score points.
That's it.
I don't care. Be a game manager. That's your fucking job.
It's fun to watch. I like watching him do that because it reminds me of somebody from 2003.
Yeah, that guy.
Who else do you like?
I like Bolden right now.
Who else do you like in the? Who else? What other
Brandon
teams
Bolden.
do you like?
No, but just with Bolden.
Yeah.
We'll move on. But
yeah.
when James White went down early in the year, he's your third down back. You can rely on him.
I almost forgot about that because of how good Mac Jones has been able to
rely on him. In blitz pickup. He knows his assignment and he makes those catches. He gives you those runs. But Brandon Bolden is a guy that's been around a long time. Went to Miami for a year or two and then came back and is mainly a special teams guy, but he is. Especially when Harris is down, Stevenson had a great game, a rookie. Bolden is taking over that third down role and is really a threat and running with it.
Agree.
So
they look good.
They got a good defense. They keep doing it. They take care of the football.
Who are you scared of?
Take care of the football.
What teams are good?
Chiefs. Still Chiefs.
Really? Yeah.
I think. They had a rough patch where you didn't know what was going on. They're trying to figure it out still. Last night they looked good.
Weren't they 2-4?
No, they're.
At one point?
I think they're 6-4 now.
Now they are, but I think they were
maybe
2 and something.
Something
it's
like
crazy. Okay, so I still like the Cardinals.
AFC.
Yeah,
I would say Titans. Titans 1, and Chiefs 1 and 2 that you're scared of. And excuse me, Buffalo.
Okay. Yeah, Buffalo did look good yesterday.
Yeah.
Put some money on that one.
So they got to go through Buffalo. They got to play them twice. The AFC East will probably come down to those games as long as nobody, fucks it up in the meantime. So Chiefs, Titans, Buffalo. That's who they have to worry about in the AFC.
All right, more to come on football next time, Max. I'm ready. We're going to go deep though, I think, with Kevin here. So should we call him Dauber?
Dauber.
His what do they call that, call sign?
I think so.
Does anybody know where Dauber was from?
I don't.
You'll have to read the book. They say it in the book.
It was a TV show, right?
Right here.
I know.
TV show?
Oh, I don't remember.
Do you remember Dauber on that TV show?
It's what it's from. That's what it's from. But I don't remember. I never saw the show.
Hayden Fox? Wasn't he's the head coach, football team, Minnesota State or something like that?
They mentioned it in the book. I don't remember. I never saw it.
Dauber, no, it's a TV show. Dauber was the assistant coach to Hayden Fox.
Is it?
It's not the guy. Hayden Fox was played by the guy from Poltergeist.
For some reason, when you were going over this, all I could think about was that show that was on TV that was so good called Coach.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Dauber was the assistant coach on Coach.
Isn't that weird how our minds
Minnesota
work?
State, Hayden Fox. It was Coach.
I love that.
I was thinking just the 10 of us for some reason. There's Dauber.
Oh, you're right. Coach was such a great show.
It was a good show.
I wonder if that's on Netflix.
It's got to be, right?
I'd like to watch that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dauber.
Yeah.
To go with the blonde hair. All right. Okay, maybe we'll find that.
All right. Let's get to
Kevin. We're gonna get rolling with him. There's gonna be a lot of questions coming up.
All right, joining us now is a frogman, the frogman himself, Kevin Lace, author, movie star, physician's assistant, which is his current job. When he retired, he just didn't be like me and be a waste of himself.
Yeah. Do you want to be a co-host on a podcast? Come in.
I mean, you can
come
do this too.
Yeah.
Actually, you guys have a good time. I'm kind of jealous of you.
We do have a fun time.
We try. Sometimes Tip talks a little bit too much, but you got to bring him in. I got to tell you helped me today. We're doing a miles challenge, which is just a stupid thing that we do just to be competitive. You got to get that, the juices out, busted. As you said last time.
Out, yeah.
I woke up today. I felt like shit. Took my parents to the airport early in the morning. Didn't feel like shit. I knew you were coming on the show. And I was just like, I can't not work out. I can't get the miles in if I'm going to be on here with a Navy SEAL. What would he think of me?
Mm-hmm. He would think less of you. I haven't worked out yet, but I already have my rides booked for tonight. I'm already in for 60 minutes tonight.
So thank you for making me do that. I feel better, but it's all about winning.
It is.
The thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely killing me. But
what? So now we're going to get to Kevin.
Okay, now we're going to get to Kevin.
That was inspiration for me, so I appreciate it.
I applaud you. I mean, it sucks waking up in the morning and having a workout, but it's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. You just got to do it.
Do you still do it a lot?
Well, I do. But on that trip, actually, that trip up to Rhode Island, I herniated a disc in my back. So it's kind of impeded me from being as active as I wanted to be in the last 2 months. But I do. Up until that point, I was very active.
So you would have been, and you just said earlier that you did not have internet at your house for 4 months.
That is a fact.
So I don't know what you did with your kids at that point, because my kids would go crazy. But without the herniated disc, you would have gotten a lot of workout time in too, I would assume.
It's a lot of push-ups.
A lot of push-ups.
Yeah, so I became the straw boss, and I had kids moving stuff around the house and, set up the downstairs gym. My daughter's into gymnastics, so we built her little gymnastics studio. My son loves baseball, so we set up his batting cage inside the house. So we stayed active, and then take them out fishing. They're active outdoor kids, so they actually entertain themselves pretty well.
Okay. Mine would have to play around a little bit on the iPads, but we get them outside. Absolutely.
They were outside. Tip came over yesterday. They played outside the whole day. I don't think one of them touched an electronic.
And this is what I bet. And this is when I look at my phone, and I'm on my phone a lot for work, obviously, and all that stuff. But when I look at my screen time report, sometimes I throw up. Like, you just get like the 6.5 hour day where you're just on it. You're just emailing this, that, and then you're doing whatever. And I'm like, think about how much time that is in my life. Like, what if just 2 hours of that time, all I did was push-ups and pull-ups, right? Or something.
That would never happen.
But I'm sure when you looked at yours, it must have been like an hour, right? And you're like, hey, I fulfilled my day outside of electronics and the world and reading the news and all that bullshit. I fulfilled my day in a better way. Is that right?
Look, I don't have parenting figured out, but I learned a very good lesson from my first platoon chief, a guy named Tony Efrati. He's from Gorham, New Hampshire, and I never saw him sleep ever. Never saw him eat ever. He was always filling that void time with working out or like mission planning or something like that. And I was like, man, this guy truly leads by example. And with my kids, like I said, I don't have parenting figured out, but if I can kind of show them the direction, they kind of take a cue and usually follow in line. So that's kind of how I parent. And the more active I keep them, the less off electronics. The less I am, the less they are.
The more useful they'll be later on in life, for sure.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing. Maybe I'll try that with my kids.
We learned a lot about him since he came on last. He came on at the Matt Light event.
Yep.
Right. We had a good time. We were, chopped it up a little bit. You were running around like crazy. You had to be everywhere.
That's
we only had you for
why
a little bit.
Herniated a disc.
That's true. Now we've got you for some time. We did a little bit of research, so I know that we have a lot more questions. Max actually filled up the board here with a lot of stuff too, so we're prepared. One thing that we did not understand was, we knew the book, The Last Punisher, right? And you said, hey, read it. Don't listen to the audio, right? You said read it. Don't listen to the audio. Okay. Look, so we got the hard copies.
Just a little plug on this too. I started it, and you have to get into a groove with reading. It's been a while since I've read a book. All right,
it's
the. But when I do read a book, I will usually follow through. So it's been a while. I did pick it up this morning because I wanted to start reading it. It's a fast read, dude. I'm I think a half hour or something like that I spent on it. 25, 30 pages in. It's a good book. It's a fast read so far. Good job.
I appreciate that. My wife co-wrote it with me, and Ethan Rocky. And, when I got done writing it, it was kind of like an after actions report, just like bullet points, like very monolithic caveman. And she made it succinct. She made it readable. But I wanted it to read like a fiction novel with just having it be a nonfiction book. And I mean, the first line is get your shit. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yes.
And you're jumping into a firefight. So, I just kind of want to paint that picture of what deployment life can be. It's very, very, fast paced, and then it's, long, drawn out, monotonous.
Yeah,
we're very, very similar to sports.
Yeah, we're going to get into some of the book and the buds and how you became a SEAL and what you're doing now. But first off, in the book, one of the things you said, I made journal entries, or I wrote down my experiences so I wouldn't forget. And I've told this on the podcast couple times already. I wish I wrote more of those things down, especially in like team meetings or what Bill Belichick said or Brady or certain things that happen in an offensive meeting room or a game, because you go through so much you sort of forget. And you had the wherewithal at that time overseas, serving our country to make those journal entries. So, I mean, what made you think of doing that?
The cool stuff we were doing, to put it plainly, a few weeks into it, I was looking, because it's not the perception is every SEAL that goes to combat, is in a deployment very similar to the one that we wrote about, but that's not always the case. When we started doing it, I was like, this is truly it. I'm starting to see some really cool stuff come together. The way that the battle was progressing, we were poised to play a significant factor in it, in addition to the Marines and the Army. So I just thought I'd jot some things down because I didn't know, maybe 50 years from now, I can't remember things. Yep. And, I was, if I have it down on paper, at least it'll jog my memory. And it wasn't too specific. It was, basic things that we were doing. But it became quite important, helping Chris, adding to his book, and then obviously with Sniper, and then in writing my book. But I had little tidbits that took me back to, things that my platoon chief had said, or guys that I had worked with had said or done, that are inspiring and things that I can readily go back to this day.
Yeah, I mean, and Max, so, and you mentioned Sniper and like your book and everything. Max told us last night he was watching American Sniper. He's prepping, right? He's like, doing a good thing that a producer does. And he told you, you told Meg, what'd you say to her?
I'm watching it with my fiance, and I'm like, Meg, that's the guy that we're going to have on tomorrow. And the actor looks just like him.
It's a great stand.
Yeah, like he looks just like him. Well, actually, it's you. So you're not only the book, you're a hero, you're a Navy SEAL, you're a movie star. So now I am anxiously waiting to go home and watch this.
I actually think you should pull your phone out and call Bradley Cooper, or Clint Eastwood. Can we get him on speed dial or something like that?
On? I mean, so now we have other questions to ask you, like, what's it like being on a set of a movie? We haven't had any movie stars yet. We've got some TV people, right? We've had Survivor guests. And
but that's reality. That's reality.
What's it like being on a set?
It's kind of boring. It's fun. Obviously, there's a lot of, I was excited to be on American Sniper, obviously. The reason why I joined, I was added as a first technical advisor was because Chris Kyle wasn't there. So there's that sombering point to it. And so in the back of my mind, it's, hey, let's make sure we can get Chris's story as correctly as we can, with the resources that we have. So, that's kind of the baseline. But once you're on set and working with Clint and Bradley, at first, you jump in. This is the big leagues. Clint has always been, a hero of mine. I've loved his movies since day one. Bradley's a phenomenal actor. So working side by side with them is pretty impressive. But fortunately, Clint, films in like 8 to 9 hour blocks. He doesn't go and film for 18 hours straight. He's efficient. So he makes it happen, but there's a lot of sitting around and resetting, and just the time slows down. But when you see it come together for somebody like me who doesn't have a frame of reference of how a movie's put together and how things are filmed, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm a very linear person in that, in that regard. But to see the final product and how it came about, to see everybody's talents, from the grips, the director of photography, the camera people, the actors, the writer and all that stuff. It's pretty impressive. And it's a very well-oiled machine with Malpaso and Warner Brothers and Clint, and obviously, Bradley leading the charge.
Now, if I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna stump you. Well, maybe not stump. I'm just gonna throw one at you here.
I bet you don't stump him.
No, I'm not gonna stump him. But if you had to pick somebody to play you, who would you pick as an actor? It's going to tell us a lot.
I would think in his prime, I would say somewhere, probably like a Val Kilmer type.
I can see it. I can see it, actually. I was trying to go in my head and be like, who would I pick? Like, I can absolutely see a Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer. Jeremy Renner? That's a good one. Yes. I mean, he's current too, right? That. I think Renner would be a good one.
Yes, that's very close.
You can't stump me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So
how long was the shoot? Like the shooting of it? How long were you there?
Right around 4 months. It was pretty quick. I was training Bradley, and he had convinced me to audition and play myself in the movie. I had to get picked.
Why the hell did you have to audition for yourself?
I don't understand that either.
Wait, dude, I'm the only one here that actually knows how to work a fucking gun now.
And I also I went through this. This is like there's no acting. I actually did it.
Yeah. Wait a minute. These bullets aren't real. Yeah. No. Let's go.
I think that's the thing. I'm not an actor, so I had to audition. Unfortunately, the lines weren't super tough. I just had to be myself. Apparently, that's the hardest thing you can do in Hollywood. But I filmed on an iPhone. My wife filmed me. I was in grad school at the time, so I trained Bradley on the weekend out in L.A., flew back to North Carolina. I was at Wake Forest, and my wife filmed me reciting the lines, and I sent it back to the casting director, and he showed it to Clint. And he called me back like 3 days later. He's like, "Hey, I showed the tapes to Clint," and Clint goes, "Boys, damn good. Get a job."
Yes.
And then 2 weeks later, I'm back in LA, and then we blast off to Morocco and start filming.
That's awesome. Now, what was your long? I can't wait to watch.
I was going to ask him about.
And I've
Clint
seen the movie
Eastwood
probably 4 or 5 times,
but that's pretty good.
Well, what I'm wondering is, what was your toughest line? Like, how much of a sentence did you have to string together?
Man, I'm not that much of a knuckle dragger.
Yeah, what the hell? Jesus Christ, you went to graduate school.
I know, but
what the fuck?
No, but when I think about that, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to act. Like, if somebody said you got to say this sentence exactly like this and enunciate like this, I would mess that up 5 times.
Especially if you were filming yourself, that would be
it would be so awkward, right?
So the filming process is about 3.5, 4 months. But fortunately with Clint, he does allow for a little leeway. The script is what it is, but if you don't get the lines exactly correct, he was he would let people be more natural. There were points in time. There's one where we're setting up for that sniper engaged hit in the middle of the movie, and there's a dinner scene where we're kind of sitting there with a local family, and we're just joking around talking, and Clint's got the camera rolling the whole time, and we have no idea he's actually filming. And that's kind of his magic, is he catches you in a very natural state, and that's why it comes across as being very natural and not as finished and polished as some of the other movies, because it's really just the natural acting of the people you have on board.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I've seen it a few times. I'm fired up to go watch it tonight, though, because I like to see people that I know and things.
Sure.
So this is going to be.
You're a narcissist. You'd love that.
No, that's not a narcissist.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I love to watch a movie because I know them.
No, because I'm happy for them. It's not I'm happy for me. I'm happy for them. It's the opposite of a narcissist.
All right. We talked about this earlier. 9/11 was the point on where you decided to serve. All right. But reading the book, and you spoke about this, you played soccer, you played baseball, you played golf. But everything in high school is almost like you didn't finish through with things, is what I got the impression of, right? You were good at baseball, then you switched to soccer, and then you did a little bit of swimming, you did a little bit of golf. When 9/11 hit and you decided to join the Navy SEALs or try out for it, I guess, is it a tryout? It's a tryout, right?
I guess
it's got to be a tryout. If you don't make SEALs, then you're going to go do something else. What in you sort of is like, I'm going to succeed at this?
Yep. It was all those previous experiences of, trying something, not succeeding, or not seeing it all the way through. And then I went to college and played rugby, which is a game played by hooligans, watched by gentlemen. And I figured that if I got to the teams, it's probably going to be very similar to the type of people I played rugby with. And I wasn't far off. As one Master Chief kind of described the SEAL teams, as kind of like the land of the misfit toys. And it's pretty spot on, actually. I deployed with a guy from Ohio whose family owned a traveling circus with like lions. There were, people that went to Princeton. It was just a very eclectic group. But when I got to the Navy, and I wasn't a very stellar college student. Let's be very clear. My GPA was quite terrible, around a 0.7 my first semester.
That's quite terrible. I mean, quite. Yeah. I mean, that's bad.
It's just terrible.
That's really terrible.
My parents will probably listen to this and watch this, and they'll shake their head like they do every time.
Can you stop saying the 0.7?
Can you ask them to subscribe when they do?
It was the most expensive lesson learned I think I could have ever received.
Right.
And I'm glad it happened, because I was very successful academically in high school, but when I went to college, I focused on everything but academics, and landed in that position. I earned that. So joining the Navy and telling people I was joining the Navy, and then telling people I was going to attempt, SEAL training. And I knew I was going to be a SEAL regardless, but I had to prove it. I could, talk doesn't buy any groceries. So as soon as I made that commitment, I knew that I went from, kind of the under my parents' wing and, kind of just the way I grew up, to now it's on me. What I do, reflects who I am, and it starts my reputation as soon as I joined the Navy. So it was a real growing up period for me. But it's the big boy leagues, and becoming a SEAL is a commitment, mentally, physically, spiritually. So as soon as I told myself I was going to do that, I was going to do it, and nothing was going to stop me.
That's the mentality. The people that pass, like have, right? And how long do you have to be in the Navy before you can say, hey, this is what I want to go do? Is that do you have to have time in, or is it like they select certain people? How's that work?
Good question. Yeah, so it changes, based on the era. Right after 9/11, you could join, and it's still the case. You can join with the contract, the SEAL contract, that you get the opportunity to try out and do the SEAL physical fitness test to earn a spot to go to SEAL training, basic underwater demolition. Yep. That's the name of the school. And the Navy's been more progressive with that compared to Green Berets. Green Berets historically have an older, more mature cohort. So they spend time in the Army, usually in infantry or an airborne division, get a lot of experience, and then go to Special Forces Green Berets. And their mission set, usually complements that. They've changed. They've started an X-ray program where you could take a guy off the street and go in that pipeline immediately. And that's the way the SEAL teams have always been. But now, the whole SEAL machine has really amped up their marketing. So you get a lot more, you get a great talent pool of young people that want to be SEALs. So they catch them right at boot camp. They put all these SEAL candidates together and move them through boot camp, and they go to basic underwater demolition SEAL train together.
You said you were not going to fail. You were going to see it through. But is there a moment during BUD/S where you're just like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
There's always those moments.
Which one? Which one's the top?
I say that putting on my socks in the morning.
I mean, I'm a large dude. I'm not your weight, Dan. Playing football, but
I'm getting down there though. Tips almost weighs up more than me.
10 pounds less.
I know, but you were when you played, you were what 295, 300.
Yep. Never over. I was over 300 in the off season a couple times, and then it was like, okay, I got to slow down here. This is not going the right way. 295 is where I played. Yep.
So I was, I'm 6'3". I was 225 when I went to BUD/S. So running in the soft sand in boots and camis, running was the factor. I absolutely hated that. When you're doing 8-10 mile runs in the soft sand in boots and camis, it's always like, this sucks, and it's like having a cramp that never goes away, because it sucks and it doesn't stop until you finish at the finish line. And then it might not stop there. They may make you run another 2 miles. So it was always, when it came to running, and I knew there was a running evolution in my mind, I was like, this sucks. I actually have to put out. Now swimming, I got the obstacle course and push-ups, sit with pull-ups. I got boats, logs. I've got all that. But when it came to running, I had to lock it on.
The running sucked. You did it. Did it help? And this is like practice for football was brutal. Not brutal compared to what you guys went through. It was not fun. Practice, you're going against 320-pound guys, you're banging, you're hitting, you're sweating. It's just one of those things that's not fun. And if you're 6 months into the season or 3 weeks into training camp, it's like, God, I just don't feel like doing this. But when you get out on the field and you're in the middle of that practice, or you're in the middle of that evolution, do you look to the side and to the right and left of you and be like, hey, fuck it, these guys are doing it, I'm doing it too?
Yep. Pain serves a purpose, for sure. And the mental grind, the waking up, pushing yourself to work out, but waking up every morning saying, I need to make it through this week, or I need to make it through this day, or at times I need to make it through this next minute, especially when you're underwater and you're oxygen deprived. When you get those small victories and you look to the right and left, and people you started with aren't there anymore because they didn't have it mentally, it makes you stronger. At least it did for me. Every time somebody quit, I'm like, wow, that guy was a standout athlete, but he's not here anymore. So for me, I just kept building upon that momentum. And like you said, once you get to a certain point, you look around and there's only a select few left. That's intrinsic. I don't think you can teach that.
Right. Yeah, I heard a quote. I think it was Goggins, like when he was on doing a quote like on Instagram or something. And he never wanted the run to be over, is what he would say. Like, so if you knew you're doing an 8 or 10 mile run, like you said, in his mind, he was like, the run never ends, right? And like, that was his thing, where a lot of people were like, oh, we're almost at the finish line, we're almost there, and they start to get almost joyous. And he would just be like, I want them to never tell me that the run is over. Like, that was his mindset in it. And I'm assuming that's kind of like what some of these guys that get through, that's what they think. They're like, hey, yeah, we're supposed to run 10 miles. I see the finish line, but the things that growth is on the other side of suffering, I think is what they say, right? So like, you get through the finish line, you might have to go 3 more miles, or you might have to go as far as you have to go, right? And those are the guys that go like to the next level.
That's a fair point. Goggins is wired a little bit differently.
Yeah, he's got a different brain.
most SEALs. I was ready for the run to be over, but I was prepared for it not to be over. And there are exceptions. I recall on a Friday afternoon, they took us out to the beach in second phase. There was a gentleman, he was an instructor who was preparing to run marathons, and he took us to the Rocks and back, which is from Bud's Beach to the Hotel Del, and it's a mile down, mile back. It was a nice leisurely, 7-minute pace. And we're like, this is nice. It's Friday afternoon, sunny out, he wants to get us out pretty quick. And then as soon as we hit Bud's Beach, it was a sprint, another 6.5 miles down to State Beach. And if you didn't make the time, I think about 6.5 minute or 6 minute miles down there, and didn't get the bus in time, you had to run back, at a certain time to do that. So that's the mental games that are played. And there's an application to it. There's many times where you hit a target in Iraq, and then there's a follow-on target. You get intel, there's a follow-on target, and you keep going. And so it's true, that run really never stops. And what they're trying to weed out is the people that set their destination and then quit at that point or end at that point. They're not ready to springboard from that point and do things above and beyond.
I got to tell you, 7-minute mile, I would just puke all over my shoes.
Oh, God, yeah.
And then you sprint. And then we're going to do 7 for 2 miles, and then you could have run 6-minute miles for the next 6.5. I just would throw up everywhere.
And this isn't with gear on. Is this with gear on?
It's got to be on gear.
Or with some stuff on?
Boots and camis. And t-shirts.
And you're never not like dry. You're always like wet during buds, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Sandy.
The
things I hate the most, being wet and sandy.
And then the Pacific Ocean is freezing too, so you're sitting in the ocean. You probably got hypothermia. For how long? How long is 8 weeks?
6.5 months.
And this is the other thing too. All right, so then we were talking to Rut. Remember Rut was saying, it's like you get through buds, you graduate, you got the trident. Did you go full into the chest? Did they smack it in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, nice.
Because
I like that.
I heard nowadays some people don't have to do it. I'm sure. You're all pipe hitters. You guys do it.
The world's changing without me.
All right.
Give us a pipe hitter definition, because we heard it from Rod too.
A pipe hitter is one of our favorite words.
We say it all the time.
What is your definition of a pipe hitter?
Well, I said that around some of my high school buddies, and theirs is totally different than what I
Yeah, no, that's not. So are people in the office.
We're putting it on a T-shirt, and I wore it around. I was like, I wonder if my wife is going to take this the wrong way.
It could go a lot of ways.
A pipe hitter is a hard charging, pipe hitting, lead pipe hitting frogman. Tough as nails, the old breed. They're not SEALs in name only. They're true frogmen. They're your modern day pirates, for lack of a better word. Cap crimping, machine gun toting.
I like that.
Essence.
Seen what are they? Been to 3 World's Fairs, seen 2 whales fuck or something like that.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of
They even mentioned Marblehead in there. There's a reference to Marblehead, Massachusetts in there.
Yep. I'm never going to memorize that, but boy, when I hear that, and I heard that Marine Corps one the other day too, that got me fired up. I know we're on Marines, but it got me cranked up.
Remember we were talking to Rut, like when you graduate buds, it's not over. Like you don't just find a team. And he actually said that next part of the training for a SEAL is harder than buds, where if you mess up just this little bit, you're out.
Yeah, so buds is really it's a course filtration process, and then when you get down to SEAL qualification training, it's a fine tuning. So my pipeline was, and it's very similar. A few things have changed slightly, but you did buds, and then you went to Army Airborne School at Fort Bragg. Now it's all out in San Diego. It's 3.5 weeks of jumping out of airplane static line. Then you go back to Coronado and you do SEAL qualification training. So no longer is it just they're putting you through pain. Now it's introducing, close quarters combat, mobility, reconnaissance, diving, maritime operations, airborne operations. And at that point you get your SEAL trident. So that's all about a year. And for me as a medic, I ended up going to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and working with Army Green Beret medics, Ranger medics, Marine recon medics who are Navy corpsmen. And we did 9 months of tactical combat casualty care. So I came out as a special operations paramedic. Then I went to a SEAL team. So it's almost a little under 2 years for me as a corpsman to go through that process.
Just towing the line. This is what I have to do.
There's so many times that you could fail, right? There's so many times that like something you don't do this well enough. Sorry, man. Yeah, you passed. You went through the filter. Like you said, it was a pretty damn tough filter. But then, hey, something like you don't do this well. You're not going to be in this team, right? Like that's a long time to be at the top of your game, I guess you would say, right?
Yeah, it's every day is a challenge. It's every day is a test. And when you get to the SEAL team, or you get to a Ranger battalion or a Green Beret group, you're constantly being evaluated. It may not be somebody with a clipboard going down a checklist, but there are people seeing how you react in certain situations to know if you're dependable or not. Are you going to execute that task when it's 4th and 1 on the goal line, and the Super Bowl is within grasp right there? So you're constantly being evaluated, and I think that's. You have to be like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Your instructors and the people above you that are putting you through that shit, like day in and day out, and putting you in those stressful situations when you're exhausted, you're tired mentally, physically. That's what carries you over the goal line in those situations where you can still function like a team.
Yep, 100%.
Do you look at when you finish in buds? And you pass. Do you ring the bell when you're done, or do you not ring the bell? Like I know the ring the bell thing is like is that actually a thing, or is that a movie thing?
That's a real thing.
Okay,
that's a real thing.
So,
and let me be clear. I don't look down on people that have quit in buds. I think when I was younger, it's like it's a dick measuring contest. Like if somebody quits, they're not as tough as you are. But the older I get, the more I realize like it's a volunteer to one, join the military, then two, a volunteer beyond that. So it's not for everybody, and it shouldn't be for everybody. The teams wouldn't be the teams if it was for everybody. So if you decide to drop on request or DOR, you ring the bell, three hits on the bell. But at the end of buds, the class leader rings the class out. He's the only one who rings the bell to secure that class from basic underwater demolition SEAL training.
I ask that because I've been trying to put something in the sales office, right? Like, cause we're, it's a big team. Like, we like to win. And I'm like, do I put a gong in here, or do I put like a gong? But then I wanted to put a bell. I wanted to put a bell. To me, ringing the bell sounds like, oh, that's an awesome thing. We want to ring the bell. But then at the same time, the only thing I think of is the SEAL side. And I'm like, ringing the bell means, that's it.
But if you make it through, that's a good thing.
Okay, so then I'm going to go with that. I'm going to put a huge bell in here. And when we make it, when we land in a new enterprise account, we're gonna ring that thing.
ring away.
Ring away.
I like it.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna go with a good thing, positive bell.
When did sniper become a part of the resume?
So when I got to the team in 2005, SEAL Team 3 was deployed to Iraq and Southeast Asia. So there's a few of us just sitting around, waiting for schools to go to and waiting for the team to get back. And there was a slot that opened up at Army Sniper. So my buddy Jordan and I went to Army Sniper, and then I also went to Halo School at that time frame. When the team came back, they did an abbreviated Naval Special Warfare Sniper. So I actually did 2 sniper schools in probably about 6 months.
And that's always 2 people? You work in teams for that? Is that one person shoot, or is that another movie thing that I'm missing here? Is that
Tip watches a lot of movies.
You always have one guy, and there's another guy that's spotter. Like giving him spotter, like giving him signals or whatever. But so you're solo most of the time?
Yeah, and the way that SEAL snipers are trained, you're your own fighting unit. So you have to range. You have to know how to glass. You have to know how to communicate. You have to have field craft. You have to be able to do it by yourself because there's just too many threats in an environment to have 2 people awake for a set period of time, and it happens fast. So each sniper is a fully functioning unit in and of themselves. So we would do about 4 to 5 hour rotations on the gun when we were overseas.
How long is the longest you've been in one spot?
Oh man, it really depends. It just depends on the environmentals. Usually, if you're there for a set period of time, the enemy is going to know where you're at. It's just they know. It's
so you're always moving every few hours type of deal, or
no? I think at a minimum. I mean, unless we got shot off target, if you're just taking too much fire at a house, then obviously we'd stay for a minimum of about 24 hours in a building.
Long time.
In training, we spent up to 5 days sitting.
Right. Don't they basically send you out at one point and be like, hey, don't get caught?
That's SEER training. Yeah, that's survival, evasion, resistance, escape.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. See, I watched
What is that again?
movie.
Survival, evasion,
resistance, escape.
I like that.
You'd be good at that.
No, I'd be terrible at that.
In your bright blue quarters.
No, I'd be like, hey guys, hang on. I'm hungry. I need a snack. Time out. So that's a real thing. So you 5 days out there, or like a few days, you're trying to like, okay, just don't get caught for this amount of time.
That's a very real thing. That has come about over the years with prisoners of war, pilots being shot down. There has to be some sort of training they provide you with how to survive on your own, use the tools that are either with your ejection seat or the stuff you carry on you. Because there's many instances, obviously in World War II, Vietnam, but even more recently in Iraq, Afghanistan, lone survivor Marcus Luttrell, some of the other stories where you are on E&E, escape and evasion, indefinitely, and you have to be self-sustainable. And if you are captured, what do you do? So they put a lot of different people through it. And for us, I had fun with it because you finish all this training and then you have a cadre of Navy folks who are going to try and systematically break you down and get you to give up information, which for us it was fun, to say the least. Lost a lot of weight though. Lost about 17 pounds in a week, which
that just makes those runs that much easier.
That's right.
Maybe you and I need to
look
go
at the
on.
bright side of it.
You and I need to do one thing of SEER training, or we're to our goal weight.
Right.
So we need to try to do.
We wouldn't make it 2 hours.
Not even. Is there a Sonic around?
Oh,
Can we get a
God,
milkshake?
Sonic, give me a milkshake, please.
What's the 2019 Frogman shirt you got on there? Swim. Explain that.
There's a guy up in Boston who does the Boston Frogman swim, and I sent him up a couple books for their auction. I figured you guys are in the area, so I might as well wear the shirt. So
I like it. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Well, you're Connecticut, so you're a New Englander, and you didn't go to the dark side. You're not a New York fan. You're still a Patriots fan. So, the parents raised you right.
Yeah, friends don't have friends.
Minus the 0.7 GPA. They raised you right in that sense.
Make sure my parents listen to this.
Friends don't let friends turn Yankee or Giants fans. I'm just saying.
Good.
Those two teams.
Well, usually Connecticut's like, 50-50? Split down the middle. You either go south or north. And
That's true. That's true.
It's too many.
What, we listen to people like you, right? This is what motivates me, like this type of stuff. And others that are, whether it's a YouTube video or whatever, like that stuff gets us going. And like we're saying, it's a lot of people who listen to us, like, our biggest views and our biggest listens are guys that are telling your story, because like they want to hear that more than about somebody that picked up a big first down sometime or threw a big pitch in a game. 100%. It's more like your stuff, right? Like it excites people. Who do you listen to? Is there somebody that you listen to that motivates you, or that you go, geez, that just gave me goosebumps. I fired up like to go do something in life.
Yeah, that's a great question. I haven't had too many times people ask me that. I don't really listen to too many people. My wife kind of hit the nail on the head the other day. We were talking about it. I can't sit down. I can't ever sit down. So anytime I do something, I always measure it against myself, and I compete against myself. I'm not in the teams anymore, and just in the podcast. Like, who do I measure myself against? I can compare myself to my buddies, but that's just not, it's not fair. I need to compete against myself. So I look at myself and, I do sit back and I do, lay everything out and reflect on things. And am I performing to my best ability? And that's how I get better, is I compare myself to myself.
So you just, you listen to yourself. That's a good thing. Yeah.
Well, he's competitive with himself, which isn't a bad thing. But what you play golf? What would you compete with somebody else though with? Old man pickup, old man pickup games. Or are we worried about the knees, the Achilles still? Is it just golf like us, or you're just the old guys?
The bike. Do we need to get you a Peloton?
I know you play to win, but if you're going to go out and blow some steam off, besides picking up like a 6 hour or something like that, what are you going to do to blow some steam off?
You're asking if I'm competitive too.
I know you're competitive.
If my kids are playing Uno, I try to beat them in Uno, which is a game of chance. So we played church league softball team, which I compete. I slide head first in softball. I go full on Pete Rose to second base.
Okay.
Is that against the rules? That might be against the rules. I don't think you're allowed to go head first anymore.
Does your jersey say that guy on the back of it?
It does.
If not, we'll make you one and send you.
There was one time we were. I forget the guy's name. He was he's a host on the NFL Network. He does that whole Sunday show on the NFL Network where they run down it's like 12-hour show. It's crazy. I forget his Max. Look up the NFL Network. Find this guy. This guy. We were at a charity event, the Best Buddies, when Brady was involved with. He's still involved, but he was the chairperson. They did a flag football game or a touch football game at Harvard Stadium every year. Brady was the all-time quarterback, so drew huge numbers. And it was a charity event, Kevin. A fucking charity event. We had this guy come into the huddle. I mean, it's for intellectually and physically disabled kids that come in, and that's what Best Buddies does. They put them in work situations, social situations, and improve their quality of life. He comes into the huddle. I'm not even kidding. He was like starting the Super Bowl, and he's given this pregame speech.
Got eye black on.
Like pretty much. Like he's got the Ultimate Warrior strings like attached around him. He gives this pregame speech like we're running out on the Super Bowl, and we have to win this game. When it was just a goddamn charity
Brady was
event.
wearing like khakis.
Oh yeah, 100%.
This guy's fired up.
I forget his name, but that was just that guy.
That's you in the church
softball league.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can say that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is it going out and fishing? Like, is it that type of thing? You like to do that? And is it like, hey, I want to catch the biggest bass that I can, and it's that type of stuff. Okay. So there's still something that gets you going, for sure. Like, you get cranked up on all that stuff. Okay, good.
That whole nice. If you're not first, you're last sort of thing. Yeah, that's another one I live by.
That's a good one. Hey, we wanted to ask a question about an American flag that you carried under your body armor. Can you tell us that story? Or are we giving anything away in the book? Where the readers can tune in.
So now it's pretty commonplace. There's a lot of people that carry flags, but we had a couple of us carried flags folded up, between our body armor and us, for sentimental reasons. I wanted to take that and just give it to my parents afterwards. Well, sometimes it can be used as a signaling device if thought properly. And if you're Johnny on the spot. Well, we were a sniper overwatch for a foot patrol. So it was a SEAL foot patrol, and they were patrolling down this street called J Street, and we were adjacent to them, providing sniper overwatch. Well, they came under heavy fire. Friend of mine, Jason, took one in the head, like right off of his night vision mount, like knocked him like out flat on his back. So it was like pretty effective fire. He lived, just got his bell rung.
I hope so. You were smiling when you said that part of the story. I'm like, wait a minute, he got hit in the head and he's smiling.
Yeah, he was giggling about it.
Yeah, no, that was a good outcome on his part. But the funny part is he's a natural lefty, and he fired the SAW, which is the Mark 46 belt fed. It's like your AR ammo, your AR-15 ammo, but it's all belt fed. Well, it's made for a right-handed shooter because the brass shoots to the right-hand side. Well, when he got hit in the head, it basically like reset him. So he picks it up and he just went full aggro and got up left-handed and shot 200 rounds because that's however many in the box. And all the brass shoots out maybe 65 miles an hour, I guess. I'm not exactly sure, but every single piece of brass hit him in the bicep, and like his bicep blew up in a giant bruise, but it hit him in the head and just basically reset him to a natural lefty. I digress. It's in the book. Yeah. Read the book.
Okay. Yes.
It's told better in the book. But so in order to draw that effective fire, we could sit up there. We couldn't really see where they were at. So we took out the American flag. We found a piece of pipe and we raised it up on top of our building in order to, distract the enemy, to give up their position so we could shoot at them. So I flew that flag in combat and then gave it to my parents with a plaque that it was flown in combat operations in South Central Ramadi.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good, pretty meaningful flag, I'm assuming, that they have at the house.
Any superstitions that go along with that, or when you went out, downrange, when you deployed?
Downrange is a great term.
I love downrange.
Love that term.
Downrange.
Yep.
No, I'm not a baseball player in that capacity with superstitions.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
kid
yeah.
is. He wears the
We've
same
got him.
sliding shorts every single game.
You don't jump over the line when you. You don't you're gonna jump over the line with your left foot.
He's freaking bat flipping in the softball games.
Yeah.
No, I just meticulous. I'm like you both were with your gear. Just constantly going over it. It's like almost like OCD to the point where you just like recheck it every time I check the gun. I check it 3 times. In that capacity, but not overly superstitious.
What about the Punisher logo? Such a cool part of that movie. And then like in your book, the picture here, like, and you guys put it on everything, right? You put it on your gear, you put it on the guns, right? Like, explain that a little bit more, because that just seems tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not a huge comics guy, and I don't think a lot of the guys in the platoon were, but Chris Kyle and a couple of the other guys had this little Punisher logo that they had, on their helmets, and it was just them. And then it grew into some artists in our platoon cut out a cardboard stencil and was like, hey, we should put it on our body armor. So everybody spray painted on their body armor. And the next thing you know, it was on the magazines. It was on the blast shield of our Humvees, on the 50 cal mounts. I mean, it was everywhere. And to the point where we were spray painting buildings with this stuff.
Yeah.
It was like Banksy goes to Baghdad.
Yeah, exactly. If the enemy saw that somewhere, they were just like, oh shit, these guys are close. Yeah.
Batman logo, but we had it on the sides of buildings.
Yep.
But it just morphed into that, and it's been used quite a bit in different units. But that's kind of how we refer ourselves, Punishers.
Is that tattooed anywhere? I mean, that'll be the first tattoo I got.
I'm sure. I don't have any tattoos.
Oh, sick.
None. 0.
No, I mean, you don't put a bumper sticker on a Ferrari.
Oh, there you go.
So Dan has some. I have none. I also don't have any, and I am this close to getting one. That might push me back the other way.
I don't think.
Push me back the other way.
I don't think that's the last time I'm going to hear that quote.
Oh no, I might say it to you all the time.
Every goddamn day.
We were going to use this maybe as I wanted to get a tattoo anyway. We're going to play a game like, hey, if I lose a bet, maybe I'll have to get a tattoo. Now you know what? I might take that. I might take that with me on it.
You might.
I have nothing against tattoos. I have nothing. I never got one.
That's surprising too, though, because it seems like anybody who we've met, most of the teams guys, are
a lot of tattoos.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of like, I don't know, like a meaning to it, I guess, or like wearing something on your sleeve, essentially, right? Or so you're
cool ones. When I first joined, a lot of the old guys had tattoos, and it was commonplace where they would deploy to, they get a tattoo there. They're kind of like bikers. And then as the years went by, it seems that there's more and more tattoos. I never got into one. Never did one.
I mean, if you go, were there tattoo parlors where you were deployed? They
did it with a rock.
I get like, hey, sometimes like they go to Bangladesh or
it's a rock and a pen,
Hong Kong or shit. I just don't picture a lot of tattoo parlors in Iraq.
Rodney, that machine gun over there, he's got priors. He did some time. He's over there.
Oh yeah. I'm not taking one from a buddy though. I don't care how close we are. You're not giving me a tattoo.
Not overseas. When we were in Iraq, there were no tattoo parlors, but obviously in San Diego, you can't throw a stone without hitting about 10 of them.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you could just like describe the bond that you have with your teammates? I just like to put it simply, because football and athletes and the guys that you played with at any level, there's that bond always. It doesn't matter when you talk. You always come back to the same thing. You sort of go right back into the same flow. But like you guys are just on a different level.
Yeah, that's kind of a challenging one to answer because there's the Charlie Sheen movie, U.S. Navy SEALs. I trust you with my life, but not my money or my wife. That was the first one. But all joking aside, you kind of rise above any differences you have. I mean, there are people in the platoon you absolutely hate. You know what I mean? Right. You can't stand them. You just don't like them. But it's mission first, and you're willing to set aside differences. Trust them, and they have to trust you in order to accomplish the task. Because everything that we did required all hands on deck. There's only a finite amount of people in that platoon. There's only a set amount of snipers, machine gunners, 2 comms guys. So everybody has an integral role. So if somebody's not there mentally or physically, the team doesn't succeed. So the reliability, you spend so much time with these people. I was out of the Navy. I got out of the Navy in 2010, and I was working for an off-road driving school in Connecticut. And there was a group training, and one of my buddies was, in the training group that was coming through. He was in a SEAL platoon. And I was on night vision one night, and I saw him about 40 yards away, and I yelled out to him. I was like, "Hey, Ray." And like the new guy SEAL was like, "How the hell do you know?" And I was like, when you spend so much time, what these people, how they walk at night on night vision. You can pick them out in a crowd. You don't even have to, hear them talking. You just know. So there's that immersion through the workups to the point where you know each other so well and you trust them and you put aside differences that you can be an effective fighting force. So the bond it's deep. But I also see the opposite in a lot of ways. People get out and do their own thing, and you lose touch with people, but when you pick up the phone and talk to them, it's like you talked to them last week. You always going to happen.
That's a common theme with the athletes, and then with these guys.
He's exactly right. You don't like everybody.
No, absolutely not.
Do not like everybody, but you function as a team. And that
definitely
works.
Now, is that part of what Hunting for Healing? Is that how that started with you? Because that's part of your veterans charity, right? Did you start that? Was that your thing that you guys started?
Joint effort. It was more my wife. I went hunting in Africa in 2012, and I went out there, and I was like, man, I got to take her out there. She's not a big hunter. Her dad is a huge hunter. He's the one that took me to Africa, and I took Lindsay there in 2014, and she had a fantastic time. We don't have a communication issue. I think we're pretty straight up with each other. But she's like, this is great. There's no cell phones. See, we're going back to the no cell phones, no internet.
Yep.
But we were able to communicate. And she's like, I want to share this experience, Africa, hunting, all that, with veterans and their spouses, because we felt when you get out of the team, when you get out of the military, for me, there's only like 3 places you can be, main hubs of being a SEAL. It's Hawaii, California, or Virginia Beach. Well, there's none really in Connecticut. So when I got out, I didn't have buddies on standby that live down the road. My swim buddy's my wife. And so when the relationship is better with the spouse and the veteran, success post-military service tends to be better. So we wanted to foster that relationship, grow that relationship through hunting, fishing, and outdoor activities. So that's how my wife and I started Hunting for Healing.
Yeah, it's good.
Swim buddy.
Swim buddy.
Your wife should listen. That's a very nice compliment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a nice compliment. Swim buddy. I forgot about that. Everybody has a buddy when they go for a swim.
That's true.
And she's a badass. I took her to the range, the sniper range, with Chris. Chris Kyle was out there, and she was hitting head-size targets at about 600 yards. And he looked at me. He's like, "That's a keeper right there."
See, that actually is scary to me. That means you can't do the move.
Shit, I hit one. I think of when we were up in Matt's thing. I think I hit one at 200. That makes me feel like a shithead now.
What's your father's
When are you going to teach me how to shoot?
This is probably a question.
When are you going to teach me how to shoot?
We need to get hands on.
Right.
I need to get you guys out there and do some shooting. Furthest shot I've ever taken was at 2,000 yards with a 50 cal.
Well, how big of a target are you trying to hit?
It was a big target. It was probably about 48 inches tall.
So a human. So a toddler.
No, 48 inch, 4
feet.
It could be. No, I know 4 foot people, don't you?
That's what I mean.
That's
so a human.
4'3", yeah.
So small.
48 inches.
2,000 yards, though. How far is that? I can't think of how. 6,000 feet?
Yeah.
So a mile. That's
more than a mile, right?
Mile, your 0.7 GPA. I'm surprised you got that. It's a little over a mile. That's a long shot.
What's a mile? 5,200?
5,200.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
All right, we're not as dumb as we look.
6,000 foot shot, basically, right?
I'm going to go blow your mind. I actually was a breacher too, explosive breacher, where you had to calculate the weight of the explosives and find the minimum safe distances. I kind of got a little smarter when I joined the Navy.
Oh man.
These are the guys that we could talk to all day.
We'll wrap it up. Have to go back to work.
Yeah, and so you're a physician's assistant now. Is that accurate? With what?
So I'm a PA. I work with Dr. David LeMay down here in Gulf, but we have an office in Pensacola. So he's actually the NFLPA doc here in Florida. And the way that things started and how I came down here, he recruited me to come down to his clinic. He was starting a new functional medicine clinic, and he was working with a lot of guys who go through EXOS, formerly Athletes Performance, and they have a benevolent fund called the Eagle Fund, where veterans and active duty special operators can go rehab next to guys like you all, and get the same type of therapy. He was doing a lot of brain health, hormone health, thyroid health with these guys that complemented the orthopedic and the PT work that they were doing. So we developed our practice from there and have grown it. We see a lot of active duty. We see veterans. We have a lot of civilian clients. So I've been doing that for coming up on the last 8 years. And then me and two of my friends started a biologics company that deals with exosomes, which are derivatives of stem cells. And that's out of Austin, Texas. So still pretty hot and heavy in the medical field.
You really stepped it up after that first semester.
Yeah.
That's what we've learned. That first semester, you really stepped it up from a
big middle finger to your teachers right there.
Thank you.
It was my reset position. I guess that was where I took the sniper round to the head, hit me in the helmet. I need to go back.
But I always think about it too. Maybe that's the way to go. Like, go and do something first, and then you go back to school. You appreciate it more.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, I think you both can say, you don't. To succeed, you have to fail. You have to fail, get knocked down. You don't do. How many times did you throw? You did every single pitch you throw was a strike. Did you block everybody?
No, fail all the time, right? I mean, like, you don't. Failing's learning. Like, failing's learning. That's it.
Exactly.
It's not failing.
It was literal. I had to fail to truly succeed.
Yeah, I mean, so anytime you want to come up here, you are with us. Like, that's what I mean. Beers, whatever it takes. Like, you
golf. He golfs too, so we can go golf.
Anytime you come this way, you are a open guest to us. Doesn't matter what we're doing. I'm calling that right now.
I've been texting him. Like, we texted back and forth. He's like, hey, he shoots me like this picture of the hunt they're on. Is like, you got to come out to Texas with hunting. Finally, after a couple, I was like, full disclosure, I don't hunt. Don't think less of me.
He's like, Dan's
I do fish though. I like fishing.
Okay. And I don't think I answered back. And
you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
You deleted his number, didn't you?
Yeah. I haven't heard from you since.
I said this friendship's terminated.
You said, hey, you could just send the book down, I'll sign it, and then our relationship's over with.
Lose my number, Dan. Lose my number.
No, but hey, if you want to come down, there's some really good ranges down this way, 1,000-yard plus. I have a buddy of mine who owns this place called Element. And if you literally want to jump in the back of my 250 and we can do drive-bys through the range and hit steel, you name it, we can do it.
That sounds
great.
Hit
steel.
That sounds great.
Hit steel.
I'm going to be a pipe hitter down there.
Pipe hitter, hit steel. I mean, these guys are full of all the good terms.
That's fantastic.
Got them all. It's unbelievable.
Kev, we could talk to you all day, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for what you did for us, for our country. It's just it's a pleasure talking to you. Everybody, go out and get The Last Punisher. I'm 25 pages in, and it's awesome so far. So I can't wait to finish it.
And then your Instagram, because now you got the internet back, is Real Kevin Lace, right? Oh, spell it for us, Max. It's Real Kevin, LACZ.
Yep.
Okay, so follow him up, and then wait, one more. Dauber.
Yeah.
That was your name?
You went the whole hour. You haven't asked me about Dauber yet? I'm actually disappointed.
Okay, so is it from the show Coach?
You got it.
All right. Yeah. We talked about it earlier. I got it.
We were like, what is this about? And then we randomly
the assistant coach from Coach.
Okay.
You got the coach.
Assistant coach from Coach.
We're good.
Okay, perfect.
How'd you get it?
Yeah, how'd you get this?
The big, goofy, blonde-haired guy.
Yeah.
I walked into the platoon space my first day, and Chris was sitting there with Jeremy, our LPO, and then one of the other guys, Bob. And Chris looks up. He's like, Dauber.
That's it.
That was it. That was it. It could have been a whole lot worse. I got away clean, but I hadn't seen Coach in years. I didn't know what he was talking about. Yeah. And this was back before the internet, there was the internet, but it wasn't on your phone. I had to go home and look it up. I was like, really? That's the connection?
Yeah. The guy nicknamed the legend gave you Dauber.
Exactly. Too bad. By the way, what about that snap? Did you see that snap that he had? That was the most aggressive snap I've ever heard. So everything you do is amazing. It's wild. All right. I'm watching the movie tonight again because now I'm looking for you.
I'm going to read. I'm going to do something productive.
Okay. Well, all right. I'll read too. I'll do both.
All right. But hey, thanks for coming on, man. Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Later, man. See ya. Bye now.
Past Our Prime is brought to you by Squad Locker. Squad Locker is your one-stop shop for custom team apparel, delivered right to your front door. Learn more by visiting squadlocker.com.